If you watch the studio vlogs that I've been making on my channel, by now you probably know that I have gotten really into houseplants over the past couple of months, and it's been like such a nice new hobby and something that's so fun and fulfilling and enjoyable, and like it's relaxing. It's so exciting to see plants grow and stuff like that. It's just been really fun for me. So I wanted to just sit down and paint some of my plants, do a like very casual little like sketchbook session and just filling out a sketchbook spread, just very casual sketchbook work, and just kind of record my process and wherever I go. So I really wanted to draw some of my plants and paint some of my plants. I didn't really go into this knowing what medium I wanted to use, but in the end I did decide to use watercolor. But basically I just picked up a few of my favorite plants off of my shelves and wherever they were, and I brought them onto my desk and I just drew them from reference, which was really nice and satisfying because like I really don't draw from reference all that much, and especially from life reference, so it was really nice to just do that and like draw something that's definitely a different subject than most of my art. I've definitely in the process of getting into the hobby that is houseplants. I have been drawing houseplants, and that's something I've never really gotten into before. I've always been into florals because I think flowers are absolutely gorgeous, so a lot of times I add like just some kind of abstract florals to my artwork, or like little fillers for sketchbook pages and stuff like that. I do put flowers in there a lot, but now that's really transitioned over into houseplants. So I will probably ramble a lot about houseplants in this. If you're not into houseplants, I'm sorry, but also highly recommend getting into houseplants because like I said, it's really fun. It's been a very easy process for me, honestly. Like, yes, I've killed a couple of plants. Don't know why, don't know how, don't know what happened, don't understand, but I've lost like 2, I think, plants, which might sound like sad, but like all things considered, I'm really proud of myself because I think I have like nearly 30 different houseplants right now. So the fact that I have like a less than 10% murder rate, that means a lot to me. But basically, my houseplant journey started with buying a Monstera Deliciosa from a grocery store extremely impulsively. I went there for bread. I did talk about this in one of my studio vlogs, but I went there for bread, saw that they had houseplants. I had never been to this grocery store before, so like this was something that was very surprising to me because personally, I have always really enjoyed the appeal of houseplants. However, I had such little faith in my ability to care for houseplants, so in my head it was always something that was like super out of question. Like, I'm not gonna have houseplants because I will kill them, was always my mindset behind it. So like personally for me, I was really keen on the idea of getting fake indoor houseplants and just like fake foliage to put in my apartment or my house, wherever it may be, and like just do it that way. And that's something that I intended to do in the future, but didn't get around to it yet. But I saw this Monstera and I just like fell in love with it because I have always thought Monsteras are just such beautiful plants. They have such gorgeous foliage, and like the fenestrations, which are the holes in the leaves, are so cool, and like, I don't know, they're gorgeous plants. But I saw that they had a bunch of different Monsteras, and I didn't know that Monsteras were like pretty common. Like, I thought they were fairly uncommon, so I was like, I have to buy this. Not in the sense of like feeling need to buy it, but I was like, this is such a cool plant, I'm never gonna come across it again. I also love it. So like, it was a little bit of, oh god, I need to buy this now, but it was also like mainly, this is beautiful, I want it so bad, I'm in love with this plant. So they had like 5 or so of them, and I ended up picking out my favorite, and she's still alive, which is amazing. But definitely, man, buying one plant really put me in an out of control spiral. Like I said, I have almost 30 houseplants right now, and it's been so enjoyable. Like, I wake up every morning and just get excited to see my plants and see the new growth that they're putting out. And like, I definitely started my houseplant journey in like the middle of winter, and from all of the houseplant knowledge that I've collected over the past couple of months, I learned that houseplants really kind of grow stagnant in the winter, which of course makes sense. But I guess their growth that they put out is like far more exponential over spring and summer months. So I'm really excited to see them grow faster because like, I feel like even over the course of winter, all of my plants did put out a good amount of growth, which like I don't know, my Monstera, for example, right now it's putting out 7 leaves at once, which is blowing my mind because in the time that I've had it, it's generally put out like 2 or 3 at a time. I had a bad phase where I moved it into a different room and she was really sad there. I think it just was not enough sunlight. It was only like 5 or 10 feet further back from the sun, but whatever it was, she got really unhappy and she started dropping the new leaves she was putting out. And so I moved her back and now she's like thriving. She's putting out 7 new leaves right now. So I would like to think that's because she's happy, but also because it's coming into the spring months. So I'm really excited to see if my other plants put out that much growth because I have so many plants and it's really exciting to see them grow. Like, my favorite plants for sure are prayer plants right now, I would have to say. I also really like peperomias. Peperomias and prayer plants are like freaking gorgeous. I love them so much. I've also gotten into alocasias recently, but like definitely the higher end alocasias. I have a black velvet alocasia and a Frydek alocasia. I really want to get a dragon scale and a silver dragon, but those are dang expensive everywhere you go. And eventually I would like to get an albo monstera or some kind of variegated monstera because monsteras with white on them or cream on them, they're freaking gorgeous. If you don't know much about houseplants, I'm sorry, because I'm just really going off right now, but I've gotten so much houseplant knowledge just shoved into my brain over just like watching YouTube videos of people who are into houseplants and stuff like that, and it's really cool. Like, definitely very excited to have a new hobby and something to add to my list of hobbies outside of like playing video games and loving my cats and doing art, because it's really cool. Like, I feel like I unlocked a new hobby and it's something that I'm very passionate about and I'm really happy with. But I will try to cut the houseplant chat down from there. I do want to talk about filling sketchbook spreads because I know that's something that a lot of people ask me about all the time, and I feel like I've touched on the subject, but I haven't gone like super in depth, so I'm just going to touch on it a little bit more. Because this sketchbook spread, I honestly was really not happy with until nearly the end of doing it. I really liked the like left page, but the right one, like the first few paintings I did, I really didn't like. I'm not super happy with it. At the end, I kind of just started rushing it, but like the painting on the top, the one in a pot, I really just like wasn't happy with how it turned out, which is fine. It's sketchbook work, so it's not a big deal. But like, at the end of painting all of the foliage I painted, I was like, wow, I really like just don't like the colors, the composition. Like, obviously everything is green because it's just plants, but I was like really not a huge fan of how this guy turned out. So what I ended up doing was I broke up my Himi Maya gouache for painting like the red veins on some of the leaves. So I just ended up adding some kinds of designs around the foliage to just add more color and make it more visually interesting, I guess. And like, this definitely wasn't with the intention of this needs to look better. It was just like, I'm kind of unhappy with this. If I can add something to it to make it like something I enjoy looking at more, I definitely want to do that. And I'm really happy I did that because after the fact, I was really happy with how this spread turned out. I really like how colorful the gouache made it, and just it kind of just added that extra element to the page that it needed. So that definitely kind of tied it together, because when I'm making sketchbook spreads, I really don't like go out of my way to focus on composition in any way, shape, or form. It's just something that like happens naturally for me, I guess. So normally, really what that comes down to is just drawing whatever on the page and then going in with something to fill up the extra space to make it look more full. So that's pretty much a very simplified talk about how I put together sketchbook spreads. I definitely want to go more in depth and probably make a video like solely dedicated to my process behind like making sketchbook spreads. But for the time being, this video is pretty much entirely about me talking about plants. But thank you guys for watching and listening to me talk about plants if you made it this far. If you guys also are into houseplants, I would love to talk with you guys about houseplants. So start off the conversation. Tell me what your favorite houseplant is, whether that's like a houseplant you own or if it's just like something you see online and you're like, this is an absolutely gorgeous plant, because some plants are really expensive and we just straight up cannot afford them. So let me know your favorite houseplant. If you're not into houseplants, you should definitely get into them. They're very fun and fulfilling. I know that they're kind of expensive to get into because pots are really the expensive part of the hobby, but definitely worth it in my mind. Super fulfilling, super fun. I love plants. Oh my gosh. But thank you guys so much for watching. If you made it this far, thank you for listening to me ramble about plants. And I will see you guys in the next one.